All right. Welcome, everybody. Are you guys ready to hear some Bomba music? Hey, can we say Bomba? Oh, no, we got to make some noise today. Can we say Bomba? Yeah, it's really important to know that when we're dancing and hearing the drums and any type of music, we feel it in our hearts. So if you want to stand up and dance or just clap and sing, go right ahead. We're going to give you that space for it. Don't worry, okay? Or if I got to pull out people to dance, you know, that's all right, right? Is that okay? Yeah. All right.
Fuego, fuego en Bucaná, que fuego, los bomberos. Fuego, fuego en Bucaná. Fuego, 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 fuego. Yo me voy pa' Loíza a bailar mi bomba. Hay fuego, fuego en los bomberos. Fuego, fuego en los bomberos. Llama, llama a los bomberos. Fuego, Bucaná. Fuego, fuego en los bomberos. Fuego, fuego en Bucaná.
All right. Woo! Now, if that doesn't make you want to dance and celebrate that you guys are here right now, then I don't know what to tell you. You guys ready to make some noise? You know, this next one, I'm going to have you guys stand up. Who can stand up? Anybody, please stand up. Ya mismo, ya mismo. Yo sé que tú sabes que hay que hacer, mi amor. Espérate. All right. All I want you guys to do, we're going to go ahead and throw a sika. All right, I just want you guys to move side to side. Yeah. The beautiful thing about bomba music, it comes from our ancestors. And as they are together, fighting, connecting, finding a way out, it just kind of reminds me every morning, every day, why I do what I do. Connecting with the people, fighting for my tradition to stay and to grow, right? And just to continue connecting and dancing based on feelings. Are you guys ready for some more dancing?
Bomba. Bomba.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Nicole Borden. I'm the Senior Program Officer with the Community Foundation of Western Mass. And it is my absolute privilege to have the honor of heading up our ValleyCreates work, which is the work that we do to support the arts sector. And here's my colleague, Vanessa.
I have the privilege to to join Nicole on an 8-year adventure as one of the initial community advisors to dream up what ValleyCreates is today.
And I just want to do another shout out and applause for Aisha, who so gorgeously escorted us down into this space. And Aisha is another ValleyCreates advisor. And thank you so much to Brenda Lees and to Bomba de Aqui. And they're not done with us yet. We'll hear from them again tonight. And I just want to shout out, too, to all of our ValleyCreates grantees in the room, arts organizations and artists. Raise your hand. There's so many of you. Yeah. Just say we see you and we thank you for all that you do to make our arts and creativity ecosystem here in Western Mass so vibrant. And we're just really thrilled to be here in community with you tonight as we launch our sustainability plan. So we're really in this new phase of ValleyCreates where we're showing the Community Foundation's commitment to continue supporting the arts and creativity sector. And we began this work, as Vanessa said, 8 years ago through a partnership with Bar Foundation in Boston, who approached us to be part of their Creative Commonwealth Initiative, which is a statewide initiative working with community foundations to support their local creativity, arts, and ecosystems. So we're so thrilled to have been part of this work. And it has been a journey. We started off funding organizations, and maybe Vanessa will touch on this, and we've really grown and changed since then. Excuse me, I have to put my glasses on. And you probably ask yourself, well, what does ValleyCreates do? So for those of you who don't know, we do 3 essential things. ValleyCreates provides funding to artists, arts organizations, and fiscally sponsored groups to do what it is that they need to do to fulfill their mission and their goals. We provide opportunities for learning and growth through trainings and workshops and coaching based on what artists and organizations say that they need. And we also provide opportunities for connection and collaboration, so bringing the arts sector together throughout the year, celebrating each other's work, and providing opportunities for folks to collaborate. With Bar Foundation's funding, we've been able to experiment and try on new things. So we've done things really differently since the beginning. We thought about our grant making very differently. We've been able to take more risks. We've been funding individual artists. We're deeply grateful for the support, and we have another 2-year commitment. And it's with their support and support of the Art Angels and other donors and generous folks in our area that we've been able to do this work. And as of this week, we just selected another new cohort of artists. So by the end of the year, we'll have supported 138 artists. Yeah. And each year, we are committed to adding to that. We are about to make some grants to arts organizations through general operating support. So by the end of the year, it'll be a total of $3.1 million to the arts sectors in the last 8 years, which is really incredible. I'd like to turn it over to Vanessa to share a little bit more about how we got here and why we do this work.
So some of you in this room know me, and when I enter into spaces, I go into spaces to not ask for forgiveness, but to really ask for them to be challenged and to do work that they are intended to do. And I'm not sure the Community Foundation knew that would be the role of community advisors. But I am grateful that over the years, we've been able to come in and really kind of influence the work that has happened for the Community Foundation, not just through the lens of ValleyCreates, but through all of their grant making. We began, and I just also want to just call someone into this space, Kent Alexander, who was one of our original community advisors, who's left us and is with his ancestors right now, but I know he's here joining us, and I know I saw Tracy earlier, so I don't know where you're at, but I also had we went through some really great challenging times together, collectively, bold conversations, and really were able to call out the Community Foundation on what the role of community advisors were. So I thank Nicole for her patience and understanding that when we really intentionally want to make change in our communities, that means that we have to change the structures of our organizations. That also means that if we're going to require diversity, equity, inclusion for our grantees, that also has to happen within. And I have to say that if you look around and you look at the staff of the Community Foundation, kudos to you, that you can see the diversity, even with the board members and the grantees. So thank you for that. We also were able to inform not only traditionally that the Community Foundation gave grants to artists, organizations, but we were able to inform that if they really wanted to diversify their pool of funding, they had to figure out a way to give money to the artists as individuals. That many people of color that were talented, that lived in our communities, didn't have an interest to be a nonprofit, nor did they want to be a nonprofit or have the capacity, right? And that their talent was beyond wanting to be an administrator. And so we were able to inform that change and work really closely with our friends, Assets for Artists. And now we've been able to fund not only arts organizations, but also artists, which is sharing this space with us today. And I'm just really excited when you look at the pool of individuals that we have been able to lift up, to be able to elevate their stories, to be able to make connections throughout all the counties and encourage collaboration. It's been really through the lens of us being able to put funds in their hands so they can do the work that they were born to do. It also is great that culturally we're able to bring communities together where they're not creating division or even competition, but bringing them together even little by little. We offer community gatherings in different areas, but we also do we host virtual gatherings as a way of a safe space where their artists, organizations can come together and just talk about what is working, what is not working, who has what support. And I will say that most of our convenings have informed also our grant making. So we don't only convene these artists, but we listen, and that informs our application process. So over the years, we've also been able to change and simplify our application process, not just for the grantees, but also for the reviewers. And I'm excited to say that we are now at a place where our grant reviewers are also some of the artists that have been funded over the years. So I can speak about all of the amazing things we have done over the years, but I'm just really grateful to just be able to share this space with all of you and enjoy the evening.
And I'm going to turn this over in a couple of minutes, but I just want to say it's so clear how far the foundation has come, and there's still so much work that we want to do. We have big dreams about providing bigger grants to artists, about finding space for artists to create and to show their work. helping collaboration between arts organization and artists. And essentially, we just want to be here to say, yeah, let's talk anytime someone comes to us with an idea for collaboration. So we hope that you will join us in this work and spread the word so that artists and arts organizations in our region can continue to have what they need to have in order to fulfill their visions. So thank you again for being here. I'm going to highlight and bring up 3 folks who are huge champions of the arts, and we're so grateful for them to be here tonight. We have Erin Vega, Director of Planning and Economic Development for the City of Holyoke, and former state rep and former city councilor. We have Michael Bobbitt, the Executive Director of Mass Cultural Council, and San Wong, the Director of Arts and Creativity for the Barr Foundation. So maybe Erin, want to come up first?
Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Holyoke Media. Who's is it their first time coming to Holyoke Media? Show of hands. All right, welcome. So first, a huge shout out to Scott and Natalia and Johan and all the team here at Holyoke Media. There's some amazing space. You too can be part of it. So again, you can start your own podcast. You can learn how to make your own videos. You can come here and enjoy music. So this is, again, one of those key assets for us in the greater Holyoke region, but of course for Holyoke particularly, but it is another arts hub, if you will. The music that happens here, the creativity that happens here is, again, another thing that we're really proud of. It mentioned who I was in the past, and I guess once a rep, always a rep, but we're really happy to have our current rep, Rep Duffy, here. Where's Rep Duffy? Another big champion of the arts. There she is. Behind the wall there, Rep. Another big champion of arts and culture, and we're really lucky that one of her colleagues, our friend Mindy Dom, who's the rep from Amherst, is the chair of arts and culture. And so it's key that Western Mass is poised to really take advantage of what it means to be infusing arts and culture into our communities. Also want to recognize, maybe some people don't know the face behind the voice you sometimes hear on 88.5 when you're listening, and sometimes we have to interrupt the great music and the news to ask for money. But Matt Abramowitz is here, the new president of NEPM, so please thank Matt for his taking the reins of NEPM and taking us in a really strong direction. Again, talk about information and homage to arts and music. NEPM is, again, another great partner for us here in the Valley. And I can't go any further without really thanking some of my team who really makes this happen, because what the heck does arts and culture have to do with economic development, right? I mean, so they seem worlds away, right? But the reality is that we recognize, and thankfully, I recognize and try to pull my team along, that arts and culture is kind of the thread that puts everything together, right? You got economic development, you got housing, you got artists, and it's the culture that puts it together, right? And without it, right? Without it, we just have buildings where people live. There's no parks. There's no Holyoke art where people can come to. They can go to the print shop. We don't have places, if they don't have places like the Artery where artists can have their stuff available for the public to see and buy, right? These are things that matter. And so this program, again, when you think about the things that Community Foundation funds, we think about scholarships, right? Sometimes we think about some of the big ticket items, the homelessness. They were big, obviously, after the pandemic with the ARPA funds and working with the governor and addressing some of the farmers and getting that money out, right? That's really what Community Foundation does so well. But again, to recognize how important arts and culture is to all what they do, I think is so great. And we're so proud to have Megan leading us now. So I know we have some changes going on at the board, but the trustees is really just so proud to have Megan leading us. So Megan, to you and your team, thank you as always. So just a last couple of things, and of course, typically, since I don't, since Rep Duffy used to be my legislative aide, since I don't have a legislative aide anymore, I left my stuff upstairs, of course, but I saw some of you grabbed it. So one of the things that we've done in Holyoke over the last couple of years is, again, try to not just create arts and culture, but recognize who's doing it. And so one of the things that we've done is create Explore Holyoke, right? So there's these cards upstairs. I'll try to grab them and bring them back down. Explore Holyoke is a free website. It's got a calendar of events, all the arts events that are going on, the music events, so people can know what's going on, right? So promoting your events, all that kind of stuff is such a challenge nowadays. So we, again, try to help artists, small businesses in the community promote their events to the people in Holyoke, but of course a wider range. So this whole Explore Holyoke and what's happening in Cape Paso, Holyoke is sort of our taglines. So we've made that commitment, and we're utilizing funds provided by the Mass Gaming Mitigation. So whether or not you're in favor of gambling or not, we're very supportive of their grants that they give to communities. So so for those of you that do gamble, keep gambling. But it was mentioned, so it's great, we create this website, but without partners, it doesn't really do anything, right? So some of you may know that we've been engaging these mural projects, right? And so one of the things about mural projects is that it creates art in places of sometimes blight, sometimes emptiness. But to me, it was really about saying to a community, right? When we talk about the first 4 wards of Holyoke, wards 1, 2, 3, and 4, some people call them the lower wards. I call them the first 4 wards. It is typically a community that's underprivileged, economically challenged, and typically, I mean, again, there's programs, there's after-school programs, but in general, these are families that aren't able to bring their family, their kids to go see art. Even though the Smith College Museum is just down the road, we're surrounded by these great arts, but they're just not able to get there. And these communities are sort of looked at by many people like, why would I ever go there? Putting these murals there creates a sense of pride for the community. For people to come to their community, to come to their streets and see this amazing art, to be there interacting with the public. There's interactions that happen with people that live in the community and people from out of town coming to see this art. And that's, again, what art can do, is bring these communities together. And that's what's so important. And so, yes, we've had Beyond Walls come in here with these amazing world-renowned artists and drop in and create these amazing works of art and engage the community. We've had other organizations like Neighbor to Neighbor and other individuals creating other public art. But what's really great now is that we go back to partnerships. Britt Rule's in the room with community murals, Commonwealth murals. And you know the great work she's been doing in Springfield. Well, she's coming to Holyoke, right? And that's that community engagement that we would get the people to come and get their ideas. What do they want to see on their walls? What do they want to see in those alleyways? What do they want to see up where people are going to come visit? And then to have them interact and actually paint it, I mean, that creates a whole different level of what we're trying to do here in Holyoke. And so Holyoke is committed to arts. We're known as the former manufacturing town. We're known as this, we're known as that. But when you look at the history here, arts is always intertwined. Even if you just take a ride, as our next speaker is going to tell you, when Mike Bobbitt drives around, the architecture, just the architecture, right? Think about the beauty that was created 100, 150 years ago in some of these buildings. They just don't build it like that anymore, right? So that embedded creativity is already here in Holyoke. And so the last thing I'll say, or the last 2 things I want to say, is that those partnerships don't happen because of me. And in some ways, I'm like the foundation where I get grants and give them out. And so Kayla Rodriguez, who's the director of Nueva Esperanza, where's Kayla? In the back row. And there's people in the back row. You guys, Kayla. And Stephanie Colon, my mass emotion coordinator, they are our partners in the community. They're the ones out there on the street, talking to people, working with people. And so we're partnering with her, Commonwealth Murals, Holyoke Art, with Kathy and Jeff, and everybody to say, let's activate these spaces, let's activate these walls, let's activate the community. And so really building those coalitions is key. And one of the last partners in our coalition that we're building here in Holyoke, and unfortunately he couldn't be here today, but some of you have maybe heard of this organization called Mass Humanities. Right? So they're moving, Brian Boyle sends his regard, he couldn't be here tonight, but they're moving their offices to Holyoke. Putting their investment where the community needs it. So they're coming to an area where we're actually going to be activating a vacant lot for placemaking and activities, working with Kayla and Nueva and working with Stephanie and all these people. But to have Mass Humanities say, we're going to be in communities that we fund and we support, right? And they already had a footprint here. They've had a long footprint here with the Clemente program at the Care Center. I know all that's here, right? So we got the Care Center, who again, when they expanded their programming here, said art needs to be part of it. We want to have artists in residence. We want to have, and again, at the time I was like, you need the housing, you need the workforce development. And they're like, yeah, but we need artists. And that's the thread. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for the support. And I want to introduce our good friend, Michael from the Mass Cultural Community. So, all right.
Hi, everyone. It's so good to be back here in Western Mass, especially Holyoke. And every time I come up here, usually it's an email from Britt or Karen or Tracy saying, just come, and then I'm here, right? But I love it. I love it. I do also, before I get started, I want to do a shout out to my son, Sang, the strikingly tall, handsome young man who is soon to be going off to Japan to get his master's degree in marine biology, right? And I shout him out because I know that when he grows, as he continues to grow up and make billions of dollars from his marine biology, he's going to continue being a patron of the arts and also give all that extra money to arts organizations. Mostly because I forced him to go to a lot of musicals when he was a kid. And so it's ingrained in him. But he's here. Say hi to him. His name is Sang. I'm really thrilled to be here. And thank you so much to Megan for inviting me out to speak. Thank you so much. Good to see you. I was going to say Rep Vega. Mr. Aaron Vega, one, he called me Mike Bobbitt. And I accept that in Massachusetts, my name by default is Mike. Thank you so much. But if you don't know Mass Cultural Council, thank you so much for being here. Artists, art supporters, funders of the arts, those who pay your taxes, thank you so much, because that's how we get funded. And so I hope you will all send emails to Rep Duffy and Mindy Dome, and it can just be like an email filled with 1 million heart eye emojis to say thank you so much. This year, the legislature funded us at our highest level of funding in the history of the agency. I'm very excited about that. That is also because of our great partners at Mass Creative, and I know Emily Ruddick is here. If you want to know what's happening at the State House that concerns arts and culture, please become a member of Mass Creative. It's very, very important that they hear from you. You're welcome. If you talked about economic development, I'll give you some numbers. The creative sector in Massachusetts is a $28.6 billion industry. I didn't hear enough amens. It is a $28.6 billion industry. For context, that is 3 times the size of transportation and larger than construction and on par with retail in this state. It's a massive industry. And thanks to my friend Megan, we are partnering on a mapping and inventory project of the assets that we have here in the state. It's much larger than we thought. The rough data, and the report will come out, we're cleaning it up now because data people put out reports that sound like data, and then most of us can't understand it. And so we're going to make it pretty with pictures and graphs and stuff. But the rough data is that there are over 13,000 arts organizations in Massachusetts. Of the people that file their tax forms that say they're an artist, there are as many as 113,000. Which doesn't include the people that work for the 13,000 plus arts organizations. Nor does it include the people who are baristas or Uber drivers or restaurateurs or some other kind of money-making job. So it could be 500,000 people in this state that work in arts and culture. That's a huge industry. That's way bigger than biotech. So all the more reason to support arts and culture. I'm so glad to be in community with you all to think about how we can uplift this sector. Mass Cultural Council launched our strategic plan about 1.5 years ago, and the goal is to focus on how we can build relationships across state government and also across other industry. About 1.5 months ago, we launched the nation's first social prescribing program, whereby, if you don't know this is a program whereby healthcare providers can prescribe arts and culture activities to their patrons. Not only can they get prescriptions, but it's paid for by healthcare. We're trying to scale this, so if you know anyone that works in healthcare, please send them my way. I will harass them. It's great. So far we have 153 prescriptions written across the state. You actually get 12 doses of arts and culture from your doctor. And arts organizations are getting paid for the stuff they've been doing for centuries, right? Helping with healthcare and mental health. So we're excited about this. The work that we've been doing for the last 1.5 years to build these relationships across sector, I keep telling my staff, we're going to be like the new hot kid in school because everyone's going to want a piece of us. And literally on a daily basis, we're hearing from all these different agencies saying, hey, we want to talk to you because we want to do this thing with arts and culture. So stay tuned for some hopefully great programs with MBTA and DCR and DCAM. All that's coming so that we can continue to support arts and culture. Thank you for having a beautifully vibrant art scene here, and I can't wait to come back. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am so not a politician, so following these two are hard. I am a practicing artist, and so I am so grateful to you all. It's been incredible over the past 8 years to work with the Community Foundation of Western Massachusetts. And I have to say, it really has been my privilege to be able to be humbled by them and their community outreach, and just the dedication and openness of their heart to be open to transforming the Community Foundation and to really engage with the community in that. So thank you, Vanessa. And it was incredible being around for the first Community Advisors meeting. So thank you for welcoming me into your community. As Nicole said, we work with 7 other community foundations around the state. And it's been amazing because community foundations are powerful catalysts for change, very positive change. They listen deeply to their communities. And I'm grateful to the Community Foundation because of their really deep knowledge of this region. When the Bar Foundation first started the Creative Commonwealth, I admitted that I didn't know anything about the communities around Massachusetts. And we needed to find trusted advisors who really were trusted by their communities to do this work. They, as Nicole said, our funds are matched by the Community Foundation, and they use these funds to really do the research that is listening to people, not just the data. And they have been thinking differently and really experiment with different things, and they get feedback and they evolve those practices. And then they have also seeded these initial investments that now are really long-term investments in a stronger ecosystem. So I love them because they also have a deep commitment to diversity, and they model just inclusive practices. At BAR, we believe that the power of the arts and creativity, we believe in the power of arts and creativity. Arts has enormous power to enrich lives, bridge divides, spur innovation, and fuel economic growth. Arts brings beauty and meaning to our lives. It uplifts and inspires us. It brings insight and empathy to our worldview. It boosts our connections and involvement in civic life. And especially today, when we're watching the news with all the hateful divisions that we live with, I believe with all my heart that artists are our truth tellers. They help us understand the world around us, and the arts help us dream about better and different worlds. So my deep appreciation to the Community Foundation and to all of you. I'm really looking forward to meeting all the grantees that Nicole and the Community Foundation have supported. So thank you.
Thank you, Sansan. I'd like to now bring up 3 of our ValleyCreates grantees to talk a little bit about their work. We have NAGO, Brandelis Cepeda, you know from Bomba de Aqui, and Michelle Falcón, your presentation's right in front of me. Who would like to go first? Okay.
I don't get nervous dancing, but this, I get nervous right here. I know, right? I made a little joke. I said, well, I got 3 minutes, so I'm going to sing for 2 minutes and then see what happens. And then they were like, no, please don't. All right, wow. Seeing familiar faces, smiles. This is what this, to me, is about, is allowing artists to express themselves and create art with each other. And I have to say, about 10 years ago, I'm not gonna go too far. 10 years ago, size 6, I'm just kidding. You know, I had I wanted to do my work here in Massachusetts, you know? And I said, I really want to connect with the community first. I don't want to be one of those people that just go out there and say, I'm Cepeda, you gotta, contact me and only me. No, I wanted people to get to know who I am. So what I did is I did my homework. I connected with the community and connected with different agencies. And one of the agencies is here, right here. And you guys helped me bring out my mission, my vision, what I wanted to do, and make it better. And I'm so blessed for that, because not only am I here with you guys, I'm at the schools, I'm at the community, I'm with, meeting new people, teaching, and along besides that, I'm with my husband. And what a joy. I know I laugh a little too. I'm like, oh, God. Don't you gotta go somewhere? But we do it together, and my goal became his goal. And I need to let you guys know that you did that. You allowed me to have my goal brought out, my mission, my vision. You made me closer to my husband. You also made me closer to the community, the youth, which is really important. And now the youth wants to connect to who they are, where they come from. And you guys did that. And besides that, not only I get to meet beautiful people, and one of them painted me and did this beautiful thing and pictures and everything, so I can't wait to, have her come up. And seeing that, the first time I saw her painting or her picture right in Holyoke, I'm not gonna lie, I cried like a baby. But I cried because, again, it was a mission, it was a vision, it was connections, and now it's getting stronger. And with all of you guys who come from different places and connecting and having your own vision and mission and coming together and helping artists like me coming out and just showing my culture is really important to me. So, was it 3 minutes? Do I have one more? I love this woman so much. She is so good. I'm always looking at her because she's like, So I'm gonna paraphrase real quick what my grandfather says, that if Puerto Rico doesn't, and I'm not gonna say Puerto Rico, if we don't acknowledge our culture, it will die out. Acknowledge who you are, where you come from. Teach your kids what you do, how you eat together, what kind of foods you eat together, dancing, whatever it is. Teach them, because they are the ones that will continue the generation of what you left them. Thank you very much.
Hello. I'm NAGO. I'm a sample-based producer and composer from Springfield, Massachusetts. I don't think I'm as well known as as a lot of the other grantees. However, absolutely. I'll try to make this quick, but yeah, I'm fairly young right now. I'm 20. I just turned 21 years old. And getting out of high school, I'm very artistic, right? I make a lot of music all the time. I love working with people, but it was very confusing to understand what I should be doing, where I should be doing it, how. And, you know, me and my friends, we make music together. If you talk to almost every single artist, right, in the Valley, they'll always tell you that everything feels so siloed. Everyone feels alone. Everyone feels like there's nothing, right? And so I applied for the capacity grant, right? And I received that last year. And through that, the grant itself was very helpful, but it was everything around it truly that jump-started my career. So I met another grantee named Lesson 101, and with him, with the help of Britt from Commonwealth Murals, shout out Britt, she rocks. we developed a project called Eternal, where Lesson, he'll paint live while I make music live. And we were just designing it as a pop-up, and we were just gonna pop up around Springfield, and we still will. But we just, through a coincidence, we ended up at the APE Gallery in Northampton with a residency for a week. And now from there, everything's just like, I could say spiraling out of control, but it's more like spiraling into my control. You know what I mean? So I'm just grateful for what ValleyCreates is doing. We need to work together. I don't know what it is. There's so many reasons, but I love this place. I love the artists here. I love the community, and I want to work for them. And I want them to want artists to work for them, you know? So, yeah, thank you very much.
Sorry, guys. I just need to. Can I push it back? See. No, because I need to. Is it good there? Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Falcón Fontánez, and I'm a photographer, filmmaker, and the owner of Falcón Fontánez Photo. I got introduced to ValleyCreates and the Community Foundation through an A4A capacity grant during the pandemic. I was really at the point in my career where I wanted to transition into working on my business full-time, and I was given the opportunity to participate in the program where I had access to funding while also having a community of artists that led workshops to help us build a strong art business. Through this, I was able to fully transition out of my day jobs and fully commit to building my business that focuses on creating brand, lifestyle, and docu-style content for artists, small businesses, and nonprofits. I also had an opportunity that ValleyCreates awarded me with an additional grant that helped me fund my very first feature documentary that I'm currently in research and development for, and it's called We Want Them Alive, that honors the women who were murdered in the rising culture of violence against women in Puerto Rico. So that's currently in development, but that was thanks to the ValleyCreates grant program that allowed me to actually further focus on that. And the film focuses on uplifting the stories of these women through the anecdotes from their families and friends. I expanded my relationship with ValleyCreates, pitching to them ValleyCreates in the studios, where we would highlight artists that participated in the program. And here are the 2 videos from the series.
You know, as an artist, you come up with a vision, and often your end result doesn't quite match the vision that you start with, but it is something inside of you that wants to get out. Somehow there's a voice inside. Maybe it's a muse speaking through you, or I don't know. But there's something that says, this is what you can give to the world. For me, that's been through wood. I had been working a job in a corporate office. I was an editor, a technical editor, and hated it. Being locked in a building, part of the time I was in an office with no windows. tied to somebody else's schedule and somebody else's vision of what I should be doing. For years, I dreamed about transitioning to work with my hands, and we had the opportunity to move out here to New England with an open parcel of land where I could build a shop. I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to build it, but I was really lucky to find a mentor who could teach me timber framing. His specialty was in taking down historic barns and putting them back up again with all the rotten timbers repaired. I spent a summer cutting all of the joints in the frame, and then in one day it was an amazing experience. About 40 different people, friends and family, and even some strangers. In one day they raised all of the components, including putting the rafters on. There's always been like 3 key things in my work. One is plain old sense of aesthetics, like do I think that's beautiful? Keeping things affordable for people. And then the third is respecting, the source materials. Every bit of lumber that comes in here gets used, even if it just means I use it to feed the wood stove. Part of what that's about is also just respecting this wood should be treated in this particular way because this is what the wood has to offer. It can be a real rat race trying to say, how am I going to make money off of the art that I want to do? And so, you're not just making the art, but you're also selling it. You're not just designing the art, but you're also trying to advertise it. That can be a pretty intense, high-pressure exercise where you actually have to have results. I support myself through my work. I don't have a second job. So if things don't go well one year, that's a problem. But having a little bit of a buffer or a pillow from a program like ValleyCreates lets you relax for a minute and say, wow, I know where this income is coming from for this period of time, and I'm gonna focus now on just making the work, and I don't have to worry about chasing the dollar. It's not just about the money, but it's about the feeling of support, like, oh, there's actually somebody out there who wants to help me produce what I want to produce. That feeling of support is huge, to feel like you've been recognized and what you're doing is worthwhile. On a certain level, maybe a shift in confidence, like, yeah, somebody's got my back. It's impossible to imagine what life would be like without art around us. A community needs to not just feed the stomach, but also feed the soul.
Radical imagination means that we're not hindered by our pasts or the present to imagine what's possible, but we're also not in denial of our history or past, and we let it inform us, but that we're able to really dream so far beyond it. And one of the things that I love about theater is I feel like it's an opportunity to imagine wild possibilities and then figure out how to make components of that happen.
So I just wanted to end by saying, as a first-generation Boricua who was born and raised in Holyoke, I know just how much programs like ValleyCreates is needed in our community. Please consider supporting this initiative so that more artists like me can expand our careers, businesses, projects that our community needs. Thank you.
My journey into becoming a socially engaged artist, it's kind of inevitable. In America, you can't be a person of color, you can't be queer without being politicized. It really was just about embracing myself, embracing the identities that I hold, being willing to put that into my work. I had an epiphany recently about why making multimedia compositions is feeling really satisfying to me as a queer person of color. I realized that it's a way of expressing that experience of like double consciousness. For example, there's a piece called Big Black Condom. The piece is about fetishization of black male bodies. It's also about eroticizing safe sex. There's a couple of different songs that I plan on pairing that piece of visual art with in order to give it a different meaning, a different interpretation. It's been a little painful to try and find spaces where I can really show everything that my work is about. I've been much more intentional over the last couple of years about putting myself in spaces where I can totally be myself without feeling like I have to switch my language for the audience that's in the space at the time. So I had booked my solo show at the 50 Arrow Gallery. I was starting to sort of expand my vision to fill the space, and that comes with a lot of costs. ValleyCreates is supporting me in not only purchasing the materials I need to make the work, but also promoting and getting the word out about the show itself. Western Mass has an enormous artistic community, and I've always felt very artistically involved throughout my life here, but it hasn't felt like a career was sustainable here. I think it's really necessary to have community-focused initiatives in rural areas so that the artists there don't have to abandon where they grew up in order to make change.
Like to introduce the Poet Laureate of Springfield, trustee of the Community Foundation, book award winner coming soon in the news, Magdalena Gomez.
I'm trying to see. Of course it's upside down. Yes! Are you crazy if you think I wasn't going to brag about that? Thank you so much. And I'll just put it a little higher because these elder eyes. Do I have to loosen this up a little bit? This one's new to me. I can do it. I got it. I just like looking up at you. There you are. Yay. I wrote it so I wouldn't ramble. And you know where I wore this? I wore this in solidarity with our Haitian siblings in Ohio and wherever they are persecuted, including their own island. Turn off your phones. I'm very sensitive. Oh, it was you? It's fine. Do it again. I'll dance to it. The opera. 360 middle school children hear the director call places with dignity of a harvest moon sharing the sky with seen and unseen suspended bodies where the speed of light and black holes consume what refuses to be forgotten. Some to the stage, some behind the scenes, little fists to the ropes, fingers to the lights, to the board, to the mic, to the props, to the costumes, others to their instruments. The warm-up, the tuning, an awakening of sparrows, starlings, grackles, doves, roosters, a cacophony dismissing the dark with its due respect as the time for dawn arrives. Bodies in motion in stillness, not a word, not a bump, not one judging look, the most serious of all, to the side on book. A collective breath, knowing looks, the mystery of what is to come captivates a full house at Mary Chapin Hall. Breath. Laughter, sighs, more laughter, sobbing, release, arms reaching for something in memory. Amens, ashes, amen, ashes, smiles, nods, rocking bodies, leaning in, not a moment disrupted or missed. Laughter, sobbing, breaths of release. Hands make the sound of water hitting hot oil. Noise, most beautiful noise. Noise, most beautiful noise. A fade to stillness. Flames burst in human form. Another, then another, then another. A father, a mother, a sibling, a stranger, an auntie, an uncle, a cousin, abuela, el bodeguero, la curandera, el reverendo, la piragüera. From Oxfords to chancletas. Thunder stomps its feet. The artist, those children, the audience, el pueblo, became the world I want to live in. Every heart on stage and in the room, nourished, full, our souls satisfied. That poem is the brief telling of a long story that was not long enough. It was the first bilingual opera, The Street of Little Miracles, La Calle de Milagritos, collectively created by the Holyoke Magnet Middle School for the Arts. It was performed at the 1,000-plus seat Mary Chapin Hall at Mount Holyoke College. The standing ovation was begun by Sarah Caldwell, the executive director of the Boston Opera Company at that time, 1990, 91 or so. Arts were an integral part of the curriculum in this progressive two-way bilingual school. When performances were held in the school's cafetorium, it was always SRO. We broke every fire law. We never got caught. And families would come with their entire family, las tías, los primos, los abuelos, los vecinos. Todo el mundo venía, right? The place was full with the families, because you know how we Puerto Ricans are, huh? We bring the whole family to the hospital and to the school. ¿Verdad que sí? Los dominicanos también. The school was begun through the vision of Dr. Madeleine Marquez. She was assistant to President Elizabeth Kennan at Mount Holyoke. The lead teaching artist was Dr. Laura Barrett, who continues her efforts to sustain the memory of the school through social media. Except for Dr. Barrett and the now adult students who continue to share memories of their experience, and a very little known archive at Mount Holyoke College, the history and ripple effect of the school have never been fully appreciated or documented for the general public, for the people of Holyoke. This erasure included the fact that this was the first BIPOC contingent to win the Grand Marshal's Prize in Holyoke's ubiquitous St. Patrick's Day Parade, where the mostly Latinx children of the school, with a majority of them being Boricua, with the guidance of the diverse teaching artist. The parade's history dates back to 1952. They were the first people of color to win the Grand Marshal's Prize. Magnet, as we lovingly call it, was funded in part by Mount Holyoke College, the Ford and McKnight Foundations, and, drumroll please, the Massachusetts Cultural Council. And I want to give a special shout out to Carol Gaitis, who was formerly at the MCC, who made sure that the artists were paid fairly and on time. Have you heard the legend of Carol Gaitis? I have. Just now? Recently. Oh, recently? All right. All right. I'm so glad to hear that. The Springfield Public Schools also had an amazing program. It was a 3-year project, also funded by the MCC, called Explorations in Puerto Rican Culture. The goal was to build, you were part of that, weren't you? Who was part of that? Raise your hand. Make some noise. It's only 2 of you. Okay. The goal was to build cultural competence, knowledge, and hands-on creative practice for the professional development of the educators and of teaching artists in a system that worked with primarily BIPOC students. The program included some of the best-known global and Latinx artists in literature, music, master folkloric crafts such as vejigante and cuatro making, dance, and visual arts, and I have witnesses right here. The project was followed by the Donahue Institute and was spearheaded by David Marshall at the MCC, again, erased. Mexican-American teaching artist Veronica Robles went on to found and direct the highly successful and ongoing Veronica Robles Cultural Center in East Boston. You probably found that too. Yeah, I knew it. Founded on the principles that include the sustainability of collective cultural memory. Sustainability demands the preservation and protection of culture, cultural memory, and of those who have made it possible. It makes me happy that this event is happening in a media access station. I drove you nuts at that commission, right, Michael? The access stations, the access stations, the access stations. But it is important. The Alliance of Community Media lists 248 access centers in Massachusetts alone. That's right, just like this one. Well, maybe not as pretty, but yeah. And my husband, Jim Leskill, who many of you know. Anybody know my husband, Jim? He deserves all the noise you make. For all the noise he makes me make. All right, now. So, for a long time, he's been trying to, you get older, you don't care, no filter. Go ahead and me too, I only got a few years left anyway. So, we've long tried to model and advocate for the protection and the full integration of access stations as art supporting, producing, documenting, and gathering hubs. Community access stations are the only media venues in the United States that are not beholden to anyone. No sponsors but the people themselves. Access stations, such as this one, are the last bastions of free speech and safe spaces where all people and all voices are welcome. They are charged with local government transparency, the preservation of local histories and cultures, and unleashed creativity. As cable becomes endangered, so do these spaces. You could lose this place in a heartbeat. These spaces have local, regional, national, and international reach via the internet and program sharing. All those stations can share programs across the state and across the nation. And I'm honored to be a Community Foundation of Western Massachusetts, I like saying the whole name, trustee, because clearly the foundation understands and values the importance of access for all. This foundation is a champion for the sustainability of arts and culture, but not just with money. My colleagues understand that the arts are intertwined with who we are as a region, as a nation, and as a society. They understand that to be fully human and to live a full life, we all need to respond in some way to the wonder, the awe, and the creative spirit with which we were born. My colleagues understand that difference is not something to tolerate, but to celebrate. Speaking also as a ValleyCreates artist, I see how the foundation has set a template of empathy, compassion, welcome, and respect, not only for products of art, but for the transformational power of the process of creation with respect for the vision of the artist. My colleagues, trustees, staff, artists, volunteers understand the ripple effect of the creative process. They understand it as a source of healing in times of despair. The traumas wrought by climate change, wars, economic distress, bigotry, and hate. The Community Foundation of Western Massachusetts is an antidote. It is not the art alone that transforms us, but the interaction and interweaving of our lives within it and within each other's lives. This is the first time I've been on a board, and I've been on many, when I feel the love, passion, activation of critical thinking, the openness of the people. And it's the one board where I can truly be myself. Look, I was myself at all the other ones. But not without the fear of exile. Rolling eyeballs and elbows. I'm different. With a capital D. And I wore the stockings to prove it. Look what I wore for you. Look what I wore for you. You know, the arts have to be understood as more than a costume that's easily shed, but as the bone and marrow of who we are as human beings. It is as necessary for the human being to create as it is to love and be loved. Never say, I'm not creative. Who's guilty? Anybody here? I didn't think so. All right, one. We'll let you slide. Don't ever say it again. And never say it in front of a child. Ask yourself, is making that statement an excuse, a fear, a false narrative that crawled like a bug into your ear from some person that shouldn't have been speaking to you like that? Rethink just one day in your life and revisit all of the ways you invent, replace, recreate, negotiate, intervene, decide, interact in diverse situations. Reflect upon how you see images in the clouds. Who sees images in clouds? I know it's not just me. You know, or when you see faces on trees. Right? Oh, sometimes they're ugly. Or the surprise. I crack myself up. In case nobody else laughs, you know. I always got me. Or that surprise magic, you know, that's wrought of necessity, the kind that I grew up with because I was so damn poor, making something from nothing. There can be no sustainability of an arts ecosystem if we have no collective memory of what has come and has been or done before, of what the arts have meant and mean in our lives, our souls, and to the substance and growth of our communities. So now that it's October, I advise you, carve a pumpkin, bake a pie, sing a song where no one expects it to be sung. It's a shame the way you mess around every man. Oh, okay. But you know, just like, do it in the produce department at the supermarket. You know, just start singing and see what happens. You might get some volunteers for the community foundation. Dance with whatever part of your body you can. Let's not be ableist, because not everyone can. Create art from the memories, remembrances, and inspiration of those who have put more life into our living. And I thank all of you so much.
I don't know if I can follow you, Magdalena.
You can follow anybody.
Oh my gosh. I'm Joanna Ballantyne, and I am humbled to be here before you, and just want to thank Magdalena and all of the artists in the room for this inspiring evening. Thank you all so much. As a child raised with the arts, humanities, creativity, dance, and human connections from around the world in my home of origin, and credit to my parents who are here tonight, Murray Schwartz, former Dean of Humanities at UMass Amherst, and Peggy Schwartz, former Chair of the Dance Department. Your words, Magdalena, could not resonate more with me personally. The arts have shaped my life and who I am today. Thank you.
I thank them.
and thank the ancestors, and I really mean that. We could embody many, many people whose shoulders we stand on this evening that have come before us in this community. So I am thrilled to share that we are rounding the bend on our 8th year of partnership with Sansan, with the Bar Foundation, and we are committed to continuing this amazing work beyond our 10-year horizon of incredible philanthropy with the foundation, matched by local donors, many of whom are in the room tonight. We have created a plan for sustainability well into the future for this important work in our region, and the Community Foundation of Western Massachusetts is delighted to announce tonight the launch of a fund called the ValleyCreates Arts and Creativity Fund. Now, for those who've worked with me here or in other places, you know I like ambitious and sometimes audacious goals. And we have a goal, Barbara Schaefer-Bacon is shaking her head, she's known me a long time, of raising $5 million to be able to continue to fund grants to individual artists, like everyone here in this room, sharing the magic of what you do, for the arts organizations, and for the programmatic work, where is my colleague and friend Nicole Borden, needed to build the capacity of this ecosystem with our advisors. And we are delighted that thanks to a number of donors, most notably the late Will and Joan Hastings of Northampton, who left us a generous bequest, and Martha Richards of WomenArts, here with us tonight from Berkeley, California. That we have already raised in cash and pledges over $645,000. And tonight, with each and everyone in this room, we invite you to serve as ambassadors, champions, if you're able to, as donors at any amount, and passionate advocates for the work of ValleyCreates in our region. Please feel free to scan the QR code on our new ValleyCreates brochure at your seat. Shout out to Emma Mesa Melendez, Emma and Michaela Midendral. Where's Michaela? You can donate through the QR code, and I know that means taking out your phone and doing all that stuff, or through our website, or see one of the team members, Community Foundation staff. Please raise your hands if you want to talk to us about not only donations, but really how you can be involved in this effort. So I would especially like to thank Martha Richards for being with us. I feel like I've known Martha for 40 years, even though it's been about 6 months, because Martha is the founder and executive director of WomenArts. But prior to WomenArts, and you can see her logo on the screen, Martha served as executive director of the Brooklyn Center for Performing Arts at Brooklyn College and managing director, raise your hand if you remember, of Stage West, a regional theater right here in our home city of Springfield, Massachusetts. She writes and lectures frequently on arts and cultural policy issues. Martha's been recognized for her commitment to women and the arts. And in April 2006, she was one of 3 U.S. nominees, along with Quincy Jones and Wynton Marsalis, for the prestigious International Mont Blanc de la Culture Award for Outstanding Service to the Arts. And back home here in Massachusetts in 2009, she was inducted into our Bay Path College 21st Century Women Business Leaders Hall of Fame for her work in philanthropy. Martha's been honored as one of 3 founding mothers of our very own Women's Fund of Western Massachusetts, where Vanessa is now our CEO, along with Diane Doherty, who is another founding mother, here with us tonight. And we are thrilled this evening to have Martha in the house with us, and I would like to invite you to say a few words. Thank you, Martha.
Ante todo, quiero decir que estoy muy orgulloso de estar aquí con ustedes y especialmente con mi amiga talentosa Magdalena Gómez. Cuando nos conocimos hace 30 años, éramos muy jóvenes. Y ahora, aunque tenemos el pelo gris, pero todavía tenemos el fuego interior. he estudiado 3 años. So as I was saying in English, I'm very, very happy to be here and see so many old friends here in the house. And I was saying that I was especially glad to see Magdalena, that we met. We were very young, but we're still youthful. But we still have, yeah, we're younger now, I think. Anyway, we still have the fire inside. And I think that that's what I really feel is important, and that's what a lot of the work of WomenArts has been about, is to recognize that fire inside different artists, women artists in particular, and to see what could I possibly do to keep that alive, to keep it going throughout the duration of their career, not just at the beginning, but in the middle and in the late phases of their career as well. So I want to tell you a little bit, and I tell you, I've seen the program. I'm almost the last speaker, so bear with me. I wanted to tell you just briefly about the origins of WomenArts. As she mentioned, I came here to work at Stage West as the managing director. So that was a large or mid-sized regional theater, and I was the managing director. So that meant that I was responsible for the fundraising, for the marketing, or overseeing a staff that did all of that stuff. Fundraising, marketing, box office, accounting, that kind of thing, the administrative end. And then the artistic director only had to focus on picking the plays, directing some of the shows, working on the casting, things like the artistic parts of it. And so, because I loved theater, I went all the time to all the other local shows around, and I noticed all the other artists had a very different structure that they were working with. It was often like one woman or a couple, and they were really struggling to get their work done because they were expected, unlike Stage West, where we had a division of labor, and you wouldn't even expect the PR person to write a grant proposal. I mean, that would be too much. They weren't qualified for that. But out in the outside of any major institution, all of a sudden the person had to write their own grants. They had to write their own publicity. They had and act and direct and do everything else required to get the shows on. So that seemed really unfair to me. And so I decided to create an organization that would try and provide some of those services to the local artists. And I was lucky to have early funding from the Community Foundation of Western Mass and also from the Mass Cultural Council. And we basically created an organization. The idea was to provide grant writing services mainly, but also we did some publicity work and other things. And I'm so happy that so many of the artists I worked with in those early days are here in the room. Andrea, Janine, where is Magdalena? I'm kind of ashamed to admit Magdalena was on the board of WomenArts for a while after her discussion. We had fun. We did have fun. Yeah. We had a lot of fun. But at any rate, so that was kind of the basis of WomenArts, was trying to figure out asking myself this question of what's the most effective thing to do. And I'm proud to say that with the Community Foundation and the gift that we're giving them, we are going to create like a WomenArts fund where and I've insisted that the grant money will be given to our mid-career and late-career women artists. So, you believe in that. I'm actually working now with quite a bit. The other reason that I'm in Massachusetts this week is that I'm working with an artist named Mary Watkins, who's 84, and who's written an opera about Fannie Lou Hamer, which is being produced at the Strand Theater this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, called Is This America? I really encourage you all to come out to Boston to see it. But she was a very talented musician and recording artist and so on, and decided to start writing operas in her late 60s, and she's now written 6 of them that she wrote basically in her 70s and early 80s. So it just goes to show that people do continue for a long time. If you give them the support, they can do it. I think that's the real point. I also wanted to just talk briefly about why I'm so excited about ValleyCreates and helping them. First of all, I love all this chat about the ecosystem of the artists, because I too believe that it's very, very important for artists to talk to each other and to know each other's work, that they are actually sometimes the best supporters of each other. because they understand each other and understand what the struggles are, understand about seeing faces in trees and so on. I mean, so that's really good. I also so I love the community building. I also love the idea that they're building an endowment. And I just wanted to say a word about where the WomenArts Endowment came from. Actually, Mass Cultural Council, once again, had a program years ago that was endowments for arts organizations around the state, and that you could either get $100,000 or you could get a $50,000 grant, and you had to show you were going to match it 3-to-1. And so I remember sitting in my office with my part-time assistant, Sarah Browning. That was our entire staff at the time. I said, I think we can do the $100,000 one. Let's go for that. Let's go for that. And she knew she was working with a little engine that could, so she said, okay, whatever. So I wrote the proposal, and we did. We wound up getting the full grant of $100,000 because we had some donors we could line up. And so that meant we had to raise $300,000 to match that, which we managed to do over a 3-year period. So that's so that $400,000 is what we're now giving back to the Community Foundation. And I'm so happy that the work will continue. So for those of you who haven't really worked with endowments or don't quite understand what they are or what they do, basically you have this little pot of money, and then it just you invest it in stocks or bonds or whatever, and then it just generates income year after year after year. So for WomenArts, we eventually got up to $500,000 for a while, and so that generated about $20,000 a year for us. If they do $5 million, they'll probably have like $200,000 or maybe more, depending on what the market is doing. So that's a nice chunk of change, and the important thing is that it frees you. You don't have to raise that money. Like I didn't have to file any grant proposal. All of a sudden there was $20,000 there in my bank account. It was great. And I think that that's a really, really important thing. It is a long-term vision for your organization to go ahead and build an endowment because but it will sustain you. I mean, most of the colleges around here have endowments, and that's a big chunk of their budgets is the money that they get every year. They have to ask people for money as well, but not as much that they can rely on that other income. And so it helps you can plan better because you know that you have a certain amount of money coming in every year. But not only that, but you can also, it's a protection against bad years. Like, for instance, now it's getting to be that every time there's a presidential election, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm getting something about every 10 minutes saying, give $5 or we're all going to die. So it's tough competition for an arts organization. And I hope we don't die, but anyway, so that's another reason why a steady source of income like an endowment is very, very important in these times in particular. I mean, it's not just the elections, there's natural disasters happening all the time because of climate change. So it's really important to know that you have some other money coming in. So I really hope that you do support the Community Foundation, the ValleyCreates program in general, and in its particular, I hope you give money to the WomenArts Fund part of it, actually, so there'd be more money for women artists, because I still feel like we aren't quite fully represented, and it would be great to have more money for women artists.
Martha, that was not for me. That was all for you. Qué bonita bandera, qué bonita bandera, qué bonita bandera, la bandera puertorriqueña. Woo! Happy National Hispanic Heritage Month for those of you celebrating. Yes. Once again, I was in your inbox. My name is Maria del Carmen Rodriguez. I absolutely love my daytime role of development officer at the Community Foundation of Western Mass. It's been 2.5 years, and it just keeps getting better. because I get to do things like this. That's coordinating all of this and meeting all of you and meeting the new donors and just the artists and all of it. It's just like scrambled eggs. It was just everything's in there. So I would just want to take a small moment and thank a few people. To our guests, I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for joining us in celebrating this incredible, or the incredible talents within our community. Your commitment to the arts makes events like this possible. We are deeply grateful for your belief in the sustainability of ValleyCreates. Your support helps spread the news of the extraordinary talent right here in our backyard. So thank you. To the artists, your creativity and passion have truly inspired the community at large, and you certainly make us look good. Thank you for sharing your work and your stories. You've been seen, you've been heard, and you are valued. You remind us of the power of art. It helps connect, provoke thought. It brings joy, and it heals. It definitely heals. A special thank you to Holyoke Media for hosting us. Thank you so much. I made my plate. I got my arroz con habichuela. You know, I haven't eaten yet, but once you guys leave, you know how it is at home. Thank you, Crave, for providing us our delicious food. Our beloved local speakers and Martha Richards, who happen to be in town from California. And of course, the foundation staff who doubled as volunteers today as well. So thank you. So let's continue the community engagement. In your materials, you will see a list of upcoming Evolve events. The next one up is in December, titled Lights, Faith, and Culture. And then in January, we have estate planning for those without children, creating a meaningful, non-traditional legacy. And you can read the descriptions right in the document. We don't just celebrate the arts like once a year, like a time like today. We actually invite artists to each and every Evolve event that we have. So we either showcase their visual arts and or they even perform. And let's see. In addition, we also give them the stage in celebrating them in many other forms through the ValleyCreates, led by Nicole Borden. So thank you, Nicole, for all the work that you do as well. And because the foundation, and it's not just Joanna, but the entire foundation is so ambitious. We are actually simultaneously building an event for March and May of 2025, so we hope to see you there. And last, I have one request. In your packet, please take out this little guy right here, which is our event survey. And if we can also pull out your phones, if we can utilize that QR code, and please complete the 4 questions. So 4 questions, so that we can record what it is that we need to improve from events like tonight. And also in your packet, you're gonna see this beautiful, you have received a gift. It's one of these thank you cards, and the artist is one of our grantee as well, Malika Ross. Oh, Malika, yes, she's right there. Awesome. So you each get one of the free cards. So you have your first thank you card to thank somebody. And her information is in the back if you wanted to order more. They can be used for Christmas cards. Why not? Why not? And then last, I heard that there's an after party. So if anyone would like to continue the conversations, you're all welcome to meet, I believe, Aaron, in Fame, across the street somewhere. And so no relation to the program, but you are welcome to make your way over there for more conversations. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.